Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of South Bay Sports Radio. Today, I'm joined by Mira Costa baseball coach Andy Diver. Coach, thank you for joining me. Let's begin. Coach, as of May 1st, the Mustangs are 23-2 and undefeated in the Bay League. What's been the key to the team's success this year?
Culture. Our culture is fantastic. We have a bunch of really, really good young men that care about each other's success, that care about the team's success. They work hard. They enjoy being together. They're really tight. And on top of it, you have some really good baseball players in that group. But the number one component is culture. We have a bunch of really great kids.
Take me back to when you fell in love with baseball.
Probably at a pretty young age, 10, 11, Little League days. Not many cartoons for me growing up. It was This Week in Baseball. I love watching that. Hanging around Loyola Marymount's field in the late 80s watching those guys on a team that went to the College World Series. Got to spend a lot of time around that field hitting and just watching guys play. And then really kind of watching the College World Series like on ESPN when I was in 7th and 8th grade. That was something that I really, really aspired to do and really loved. And I think that's when, at that point, it really took off for me.
You attend St. Bernard High in Playa del Rey, graduating in 1991. What would best describe your prep career as a student athlete?
Very lacking in the student part of it. I was a pretty lazy student. As an athlete, I think very competitive. Had a lot of success in high school, and I think that was just because I was surrounded around good teammates and good players, but I really competed hard. I played hard. I really competed.
You move on to LA Harbor College before settling in at LMU. How would you describe your journey following high school?
I was driven. I became a better student, better player. I learned a lot about competing and playing the game at a higher level at LA Harbor College under Tony Bloomfield and Bob Anderson and the late Jim O'Brien. And then I think that helped me in my days at LMU, being just a good teammate and somebody who competed and played hard.
Your coaching journey begins in 1996 with an American Legion team based out of Westchester. What do you remember about that first year?
Oh, man, that was really fun. So back when American Legion was kind of a little bit more popular than it is today, we would take 5 players from St. Bernard's, 5 from Loyola, and 5 from Westchester High. And that was our 15-man roster. And we would play a bunch of teams throughout the West Side. And then we'd make some trips down to San Diego and play in some tournaments. I just remember being a young, fiery guy that thought I had all the answers. And looking back on it, I didn't really know what I was doing. Age-wise, I was only a few years older than these guys, so they liked me and could relate to me. And I think they admired the fact that I was playing in college or had just got done playing in college. And so they might have looked up to me a little bit, but I coached them hard and coached them aggressively. And I just remember having a lot of fun with those guys. And most of those guys I still know today and still have relationships with today.
What were some of the philosophies that you came up with in those early days?
I don't know if it was really a philosophy other than just be real aggressive. Like we try to steal like 10 bases a game, and we would try to throw fastballs and curveballs all the time to get guys out. And we played hard. We chattered from the dugout. We talked about getting up on the plate and taking inside pitches off our shoulders. Just kind of an old school mindset. Hadn't quite gone away yet in the mid 90s. So I just remember trying to be really aggressive with these guys. So I think style of play was we were just intense, and we were vocal, and we were aggressive.
You coached at Redondo for a few years and named the 2019 quarterfinal clash with Oaks Christian as a memorable game. Redondo won that game 5-3, but take me down memory lane and back to that game.
Yeah, well, that was a loaded team. We had a third round pick on the mound in Drew Dahlquist. We had Division I commits all over the field. And then we played Oaks Christian, and Oaks head coach at the time was Royce Clayton. And Royce was a senior at St. Bernard's when I was a freshman. He was a first-round draft pick. And as soon as I walked on campus at Bernard's as a freshman, Royce kind of took me under his wing and was somebody that I looked up to as a player. I aspired to kind of be like Royce. And so for me to get an opportunity to share the field with him, from two head coaches from St. Bernard High School, 30 years later from post-graduation, competing against one another was just really, really special. I mean, we both played for the same high school coach, tons of common friends in the stands watching, and his team was really good too, with a trip to go to the semifinals in Division II, which is really, really hard to do. And so we came out on top, and it was just a very memorable, a lot of emotions in terms of just kind of feeling proud to be able to share the field with Royce and compete with Royce.
You take over at Mira Costa in 2022. What were some of your short-term goals when you took the job at a very well-known program in the area?
Yeah, I think short-term goals were just to kind of come in and lay the foundation for what I believe a successful program has under my watch. Coach Ramsey, Keith and I go way back. He was the first lesson I ever gave post-college. I coached Keith at Loyola High. I coached him at LA Harbor. I've known Keith forever, so he did a fantastic job here. But we have different styles, and so I wanted to kind of put my blueprint on things, and talked about culture and toughness and really a commitment and dedication to the baseball program in terms of, from a player's standpoint. And so that was kind of the short-term goals, was come in and let them know that we're going to change some things, and this is what I believe in. And so, it takes some time, right? The seniors have been in a program for 3 years doing it one way, and then I come in with a little bit different mindset or vision. And so it's tough to get those guys on board in just 1 year. It's a 2 or 3 year process. I feel like all these guys now, I've had since their sophomore year, so they know the expectations of the program. But short-term goals was just kind of to change the culture of things into the blueprint, which I believe in.
You named Tony Bloomfield, Bob Anderson, and Jody Robinson as mentors. What are some invaluable things you've learned from each of them?
Well, from Coach Bloomfield, I learned everything about baseball, and just compete and toughness. That guy, he's the best baseball mind I've ever known and ever met, and probably will ever be around. He's just so insightful with the game. And in the moment, those lessons, you don't think about them in life, but later on, they just impact you so much later on as an adult in your life, with how you compete and how you hold yourself, and your work ethic, your commitment to family, teammates. Those are all things I learned from Coach Bloomfield. And Coach Anderson and I became really, really tight at a young age. For me as a player, Coach A was a high school coach when I was a high school player, so we had competed against each other, and then playing for him, almost like an uncle type relationship, somebody that I talked to a lot about life, my own personal life. He's been there through some of my hard times, some of my battles, some of my lows. He's always been a voice of reason and support that I've leaned on. We've taken family trips together. Just a great human being, and somebody that I look up to. And then Coach Robinson at LMU, gave me an opportunity to compete at the Division I level, and somebody that I had a lot of admiration for him and his just compete, his grit, and just constant support, tough love always, and somebody that I'm still in touch with even today.
How do you prepare your athletes for the transition to college baseball or other post-high school opportunities?
Well, I think you keep it real with them, right? You use your experience that you've had as an adult. I'll be 52 in 16 days. So I share that, my life experiences with them. And then on the baseball field, I raise the stakes for them. Like I'm tough on these guys in terms of the expectations. And oftentimes I find myself talking to them about, hey, this is not only a baseball skill, but this is a life skill. This is something that you're going to need throughout your life, whether it be showing up on time or doing things right, or, being competitive in the things that you do, or being prepared, or being organized or neat. So I try to use a lot of those lessons that you and I know and follow in life that they don't quite fully grasp the importance of yet. So we try to intertwine the two through baseball and life.
There have been a great number of players to come out of the area, including Hall of Famer George Brett, Royce Clayton, as you mentioned earlier, and Redondo's Morgan Ensberg. And there are a slew of players with South Bay roots as well, and a Savannah Banana. What is your message to youngsters with dreams and aspirations of making it to the professional level?
Yeah, chase them, and then chase them some more. And when you think that maybe you're done, chase it one more time. Because this game is so rewarding and there's so many great things that happen through this game. My advice to the 10-year-old, to the 18-year-old, to the 22-year-old is just keep on doing it until at the very, very end, you've hit the dead end, right? You're either your body or your mind or somebody tells you that you're not good enough, because eventually that time will come. And so chase your dreams all the time. I have a young man that's finishing up his senior season at UC Davis this weekend out at Cal State Long Beach. He played minimum baseball for me at Redondo, did not get on the field much at all, and had aspirations of playing Division I baseball, and walked on and made a tryout, made the roster as a tryout guy, and walked on and is now like a 2-year starter and catcher at UC Davis playing Division I baseball, all because of the bottom line is he's following his dreams. His name is Riley Acosta, and a phenomenal story.
I love that. So before each episode, I send my guests a questionnaire and I leave it open to add info as they see fit. One of the things that you wanted to talk about was big on big. You've sparked my curiosity. Please tell me more.
Yeah. So thanks for asking that, Nick. It's something that weighs real heavy with me and my life and how my philosophy and so big on big. The three letters, the BOB, is an acronym for my brother Bob, who tragically this past summer had passed away after a 7-year battle with a massive stroke. He was diagnosed with a inoperable brain tumor in late May of last year. I remember in my earlier days as a player, I had a coach. It might have been Coach Bloomfield. It could have been Coach Lopez at Arizona. Used the phrase "big on big," and it kind of meant like, anybody, anytime, any place, right? Just kind of really relating it just to baseball. And I kind of carried that mantra with me. I really liked that phrase, and I carried that mantra with me. Big on big, just relating to baseball. It could be us playing a really good team and saying, "Hey, let's go big on big, man. Come on, let's go, let's compete." And then a couple of weeks after my brother's stroke, I remember sitting in his hospital room, and on the whiteboard in the hospital room was they write the patient's name and the nurse and the medications, and the way that the person had written Bob's name, it was BOB, like very big and just very bold, and it stood out almost like she kind of like block lettered it. And I was staring at it, and it just kind of hit me. Big on big is something that I've always said, and wow, big on big, and that's my brother's name, Bob. And so then it took on a different meaning, and then it became driven behind him and his battle with being a stroke victim. He was paralyzed on his right side, lost the ability to speak, lost the ability to walk, and so what I came up with was the first big represents the challenge ahead of you, and the second big represents your mindset. And so you have a challenge ahead of you. It could be a big math test, and you have to adjust your mindset of let's go, get prepared. I can do this. It could be a deadline, right? You work in the media relations. It could be a deadline you have to get to. It could be a starting pitcher that's throwing 93. Like, there's the challenge. Let's adjust the mindset to, hey, we got this. And it was something that I immediately resonated towards. I used it as a source of motivation for my own life, getting inspiration through my brother, who was battling something every day. And then I watched my parents alter their life to care for him on a daily basis. They fed him, they bathed him, they lifted him in and out of bathtubs and in and out of cars and got him dressed and put him into bed. And I thought to myself, like, wow, like here I am complaining about, sitting in traffic or shortstop making a couple errors, and these people are in their late 70s altering their life to care for their son. Like, what a great message to share with like my guys, my team. And so it's something that I've used since the Redondo days and has really taken off here at Mira Costa. The kids have really bought into it. And so basically it's a challenge and a mindset saying, and you can apply that to the baseball field or the traffic jam you're sitting in or getting your bills paid or the math test, whatever it may be. And it's something that's really just taken off in our program, and I firmly believe in, and try to share that a lot with others outside of our program. And the first week of the season, right before the season started, I was watching our guys take batting practice, and I think Harrison Belden or Lucas Shermer, one of our guys, was taking BP, and I pulled him aside. I was watching his swing, and I pulled him aside, and I noticed on the back of his helmet he had a little sticker that said BOB, and the O is in the shape of like a 4-leaf clover, which is symbolic of our Irish heritage and my dad's infatuation with 4-leaf clovers. And I said, "What is that sticker?" And he says, "Coach, the whole program's going to wear them on their helmets this year and dedicate this season to your brother." And it was like, whoa, I'm even, get a little emotional even thinking about that now. Probably 55 to 75% of our program was at my brother's funeral service in there of support of me and my family. And so it's just a really powerful message and something that I love sharing. And, it's my Twitter handle. It's on my license plate. I have my brother's initials tattooed on my arms. And so I really appreciate, Nick, you diving into that and allowing me to share that with you.
Of course, that's what this platform's all about. That will wrap up the serious part of this interview. I like to close every episode with rapid fire. 5 questions, all about Mr. Diver.
Fire away.
All-time favorite MLB players?
Will Clark, Mike Schmidt, Roger Clemens.
Ooh, those are beasts. Least favorite MLB team?
Padres.
Favorite baseball movie?
I'm going to go with the original Bad News Bears.
Walter Matthau. South Bay music, Black Flag or Pennywise?
Pennywise.
All right, last one. Your go-to South Bay eatery and the dish you recommend there?
I'm going to go with Rinaldi's Deli in El Segundo, and I'm going to go with the Hamilton.
Hamilton, tell me about that.
Heated up turkey, provolone cheese, a couple slices of bacon on a fresh cut white bread roll.
Sounds delicious.
Add your preferences of lettuce and onion and mustard and mayonnaise.
Beautiful. Coach, you've been amazing. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you out on the field soon.
Nick, thank you so much, man. Take good care. I appreciate your work.
Thanks, Andy.